The new Texas border enforcement law suffered a loss in court after a federal judge ruled against it.
The judge found, quote, a surge in immigration does not constitute an invasion. That directly refutes Governor Greg Abbott's justification for sending Texas troops to the border. Joining us today is Professor Denise Gilman from the University of Texas School of Law. She is also co-director of the school's immigration clinic. Professor Gilman, thanks so much for joining us. We really do appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
So, Professor, what stood out to you from the judge's decision? We mentioned a little bit about that a moment ago, but really, what were the big takeaways for you?
Well, so first and foremost, I think it's really important to just realize how detailed and carefully considered the decision was. You know, this is a big case and there are tight deadlines on the possible implementation of the law, but the judge really took the time to reason out the case. The second point would be the one that you mentioned. The decision is very clear that the invasion rhetoric that the governor has been using isn't legal, that it doesn't create any legal circumstances that would permit exceptions to the normal rule of law. And then third is the extent to which the judge really pushed on the preemption issue, recognizing that this law goes further than any other state attempt at immigration enforcement and therefore is unconstitutional because immigration enforcement really is a federal function.
Okay, so the Governor Abbott, put out a statement saying Texas will, quote, immediately appeal this decision. What happens next, though?
So the big question is whether or not there will be a stay of the injunction, which means that the law could go into effect while it's being discussed on appeal. We don't know yet whether that will happen. Right now, the law cannot go into effect because of the injunction issued by the district court, but it'll be up to the Fifth Circuit, the appellate court, to determine whether the law can go into effect while it's being sorted out. And then eventually, and it'll take some time, we'll get a ruling on the actual merits of whether this is a lawful measure or not.
What also has a lot of people's eyes focused particularly on this case is that the governor has shared his intent to take this case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court if it's necessary. Now, given the court's conservative majority right now, what do you think the chances are of the justices siding with Texas on this law?
So I think that this law is going to, in the end, be declared unconstitutional. It just is really unique in how far it goes to create a state law deportation mechanism as well as state law crimes around immigration. And so even with this court's willingness to rethink some of its older standards, I think this particular law that was passed by the Texas legislature just goes too far. And I think the Supreme Court will find that it's out of bounds, that it is unconstitutional.
And Professor, lastly, I know you run the immigration clinic for the law school there. How has this legal back and forth impacted your work, or what are you seeing now?
Well, we're seeing a lot of fear in the immigrant community for sure. There's a lot of concern about what this law will mean, whether or not it's implemented fully. There is a real concern that state and local law enforcement will be looking to arrest people who appear to be migrants. And so there's a lot of fear. There is great hope that the law will continue to be enjoined and will not go into effect, and that would give people a little greater sense of security, but for now there's a lot of uncertainty.
All right, Professor Denise Gilman with UT's School of Law, thank you so much for taking part of your afternoon to talk with us. We appreciate your insight.
Thank you.